Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service, jbiztechvalley.com, and as you can see here, now weekly columnist for the Jewish press.
And I'm having a lot of fun doing all of that. I talk about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be, and we don't have anything to talk about government today,
Good.
But we
No
do
politics.
have something about the arts, and Philip Morris, the CEO of Proctors and a few other venues, Cap Rep, The Rep, and the Universal
Preservation Hall.
Right, in Troy. Right?
In Saratoga.
Saratoga
Springs.
Welcome back to the Jewish View, your return guest. This is wonderful.
Thank you. I like it. Thank you.
And we like to talk about the arts. It's a good reprieve from all the politics and that we're talking about. Now we can be
Art and politics have always gone together, though, right? They've always, from
only when it was a state institution and the government.
painting of the Sistine Chapel to rebellion during the 60s.
Well, I have to tell you, you put out your 2016-2017 calendar, or what you have coming up. I was extremely impressed by this, I got to tell you. It's a beautifully laid out brochure. Depending on what you're interested in, you could find it very easily here. And
I thought it was very
nice.
interesting that you're like almost a year ahead of time. We try to plan, if it's Passover, you plan a few months ahead of time, or it's the summer, what are we doing for the high holidays?
Actually, most of the year after that is already scheduled.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the way you just have to.
But what about some new talent that all of a sudden they're on television and you get a new talent, and how do you fit that
story
in?
that the English professor or some professor has a bucket of sand, a bucket of small pebbles, a bucket of big pebbles, and a bucket with big rocks, and it's one glass jar, and he says, can all these things fit? And of course everybody says no, and so then he proves it they're wrong by putting the big rocks in first, then the middle-sized ones, then the smaller ones, and then pouring the sand in last. Well, that's the way that is. You got to put the big rocks in first, and the big rocks are the full week or 2-week Broadway shows, and then the medium-sized rocks go in, and those might be the classical music events or the dance events. And then the smaller rocks are the hot show that pops up. And if we don't have a date, we don't have a date. But if we have a date, we do it. So, but if I didn't do the big rocks first, we wouldn't be in business.
And what about the sand?
The sand movies,
Okay.
the movies, local events,
Things
all
that
that
are
kind of
really flexible in terms of schedule.
stuff. Right, and if it's 3 months out, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So there's the 2-year out stuff, the 1-year out stuff,
Right.
the 6-month to 1-year out stuff,
Right.
and the stuff that's
So
90 days.
So you were putting this together probably in 2013, 2014?
Parts of that were done in 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Yep.
So, I don't know, it's so long ago, do you remember what do you
Exactly, you're going to have to ask me for the brochure. I should have had one with me. In fact, the other funny thing is, I get all the years so confused, even as we're talking to agents, and they do too, because they'll say, well, remember we talked about this for September?
No.
And I'm like, which September? 18? 17? Oh, 19, right. That was a 19 one.
yeah.
Actually, it's become more like that for Proctors because of this is where art and government do crisscross, because we successfully asked the legislature and the governor for this upstate theater tax credit, which gives 25% credit to producers who take their road shows, the shows that are meant to tour, and open them upstate, any of the 5 or 6 facilities upstate from Buffalo to Schenectady. And what that means is the agents who are really there to make sure the schedule makes sense.
Right.
They're not going from LA to Schenectady.
And
They need to know where a tour starts in order to determine how to start selling it. So we end up being earlier than ever, because when a tour is going to happen and we have a fighting chance at getting the tech for it, that's way early, and the agents wanted that early, and the producers, in order to get started on thinking about what the rest of the tour looks like. So it's kind of fun.
It is. And did you get that upstate tax credit?
Yeah, it passed 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
This year there are 7 or 8 shows that are opening upstate New York that never would have come,
Like
including an American in Paris.
Really?
Which will be here for 4. The show will run for 1 week, but they'll be here for 5, collecting the sets, collecting the costumes, putting up the lighting rigging system, building it.
It's like 100 people?
100, 120 people.
And where do they stay? In a local hotel?
Local hotels. They eat local food. They're on the streets
And
all
it takes
the
a
time.
month for a production to get up
To get
and running.
pulled
Yeah.
and rehearsed and ready to go on
Do
the
they
road.
need extras?
Can you dance?
I can try. I'm very teachable.
But it's a very intense process, and they're putting in 16-hour days.
Really
for
practicing and just setting up. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You don't know what
and
really goes
and
into
each
it.
system, think of a house with an electrical system and a plumbing system and a sewage system, a sanitary system. Each system, the lighting system, is brand new. They just get it. They put it up. They test it. They have the auditorium at Proctors is full of computers, probably 175 computers, as the different things are being tested and scheduled and queued. Then the sound system comes in, they test the sound system. Then the automation, if there's automation, and there will be for an American in Paris, all the automation comes in, and the things that are moving automatically. And then finally the costumes arrive on the cast, and they come together for the first time, and they have to be refitted and cleaned and all of that, and then finally it's time for rehearsal.
It's a lot of work. Meaning, you just get back to the monetary. I mean, just so much work goes in. Does the tickets cover the cost of all that work and all that talent?
Well, the answer is yes and no, just for clarity. If it was for 1 week at Proctor's, never. A tour, might cost $5 to $7 million to capitalize, to build. So it needs 50, 60, 70 weeks of performances before it could even pay back, recoup its capital cost.
Really?
And so that's what happens. So
That's the tour.
that's the tour.
Right. He's talking about, does the ticket sales help pay for it for you, for Proctors?
Right, what happens is the company will rent the building for the 4 or 5 weeks that they're rehearsing, so we get a small rent for that. And then we would pay what we would normally pay for our 1 week. And ticket sales, if we do a good job, usually pays for that plus a little bit.
Right.
So the answer is yes. I just didn't want to confuse the 4 weeks of building it.
And the whole tour.
It has to happen the whole tour to help pay for that.
Right. And the whole tour. So that's why they have to have as many stops and stops that would be profitable.
Correct.
For them. Because you don't want to, they
Schenectady.
obviously wouldn't go to Westchester County when most people will see it on Broadway.
There's no building like ours in Westchester County.
I'm just saying, if there was, I'm just saying,
So
it doesn't make sense to have it too close to a metropolitan area, like New York City. Like, for example, you would have it in Iowa, but not in Chicago.
Oh, they would. They'll be in Chicago. They'll be in New Haven, which is pretty close. You're right about being somewhat protective of the Metro New York area, but Metro New York's pretty huge.
Right.
And what's interesting is that the marketplace hasn't put many large touring theaters in a ring within Metro New York.
Okay.
Though there is one in New Jersey and Newark.
That's
American in Paris will pay it.
But Schenectady's got a good name, though. I mean, your Proctors is now
We've
amongst
earned
the
a very
agents.
good reputation.
Like they want to stop
With the
there.
agents, with
without
the
a doubt.
producers. They love our stagehands, who are really, work hard, they're amenable, they're friendly, they don't get
Yeah,
cranky.
because once you get a
All
name,
that
then
is-
people want to think, hey, we got to go to Schenectady. That's on our route.
Yeah,
So
well, that happens a lot now.
that's excellent.
So let me, so you have Dirty Dancing
Yes.
coming. Are they going to be jumping off the stage into the seats? In that famous scene that
I don't think so, no. But they are jumping a lot.
they're jumping, so you have to build something on the
Yeah.
Proctor stage where they could jump.
It's part of the
from
set
there.
that comes out of the bus, out of the
Okay.
truck.
So they're not jumping into the audience.
Yeah,
so Where
right.
someone has to catch
No,
the
no,
person.
you don't have to
Where
catch
if they
them.
miss, the person goes into the audience. So it's like, okay. Anyway, Something Rotten.
Yeah, we're
Is-
teching Something Rotten.
What is that? That's a...
That's playing in New York
Idol?
still.
Is that Eric Idle?
No, it's a very humorous musical that hypothesizes
Yeah.
comically about the creation of the musical. And the hypothesis is there were these two brothers during the Elizabethan time, during Shakespeare's time, who were trying to compete with Shakespeare and couldn't, and they hated him because of it. And so they went off to a soothsayer.
Right.
And the soothsayer said, I know what you guys need, something new and different. You need a musical. And it's a very funny pastiche. The guy who plays Shakespeare is really funny.
Did it originate in London? Or?
Nope, it's a New York show, and it's still running, and it's really great.
I think of it as
You know, talk about that. Did you ever get Shakespeare, or it's really not for your venue for?
Oh, no, we do. We absolutely do. And often we do it with schools in mind. And so we'll do an evening performance and 2 daytime ones. Because we do about 25 events a year aimed at school-time audiences. A lot of young people come through the building. And we do a lot of other education in schools, not just in Proctors or
You
in
bring
Cap
the
Rep.
little bit of theater to the school.
Well, Cap Rep has a program called On the Go, and we go all over the region. I think last year 120 schools or 130 schools. Plus, we have 3 full-time video artists, one in Boston Spa, one in Schenectady, and one in Albany High School, that are working with 9th graders to help them pass their 9th grade English language arts exams. Often, 9th grade is, if you don't pass it, that's where a kid drops out. And so, to capture the kids' attention, you use media to supplement reading and writing activities so that kids will stay in school and finish 9th grade. And it's been very successful.
Well, you have one of my favorite Broadway shows coming up, and that is Beautiful, the Carole King's musical.
It's lovely.
And she's Jewish, Carole King.
Yep.
So I just want you to know
She sings Hava Nagila.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because she is just magnificent. And this performance, I mean, this play has gotten rave reviews.
The woman who played Carole King in New York is the sister of the woman who's going to play her on the tour. It's kind of interesting. They're
that's
3 years apart.
Wonderful.
And, they're both wonderful. They're both fabulous.
I'm looking forward to that. And then you got A Night with Janis Joplin, obviously. She's not going to be there, but maybe in spirit.
That's a Cap Rep, yep.
And that's a Cap Rep.
This summer, they'll be coming in July.
And what about Cabaret?
Cabaret is coming to Proctors. It's the new, not condensed, that makes it sound smaller. It's a compact version that won awards last year in New York.
So
it's really wonderful.
Are you obviously, I don't know, maybe you can take seats out, but are you going to have little round tables to make it seem like a cabaret and, you know, and take some of the seats out?
I actually don't know the answer to that because I don't know what the touring company's requirements are yet. Okay. Sometimes that happens on stage, but I don't know what the company's plans are at this point.
Okay, well, maybe they could, you know, if you don't mind taking the seats out, maybe they could put tables in the first 3 rows.
Go in over here.
You know, because I know that is kind of chic when they, people like to be up front then, you know, they don't mind it. Sound of Music?
Yeah,
that seems
wonderful production.
That would need a big stage, a big...
It's amazing how much stuff we have that has a Jewish relationship to it, right? I mean, it's long the war and the second war, and a lot of... so that's just what happened this year.
But the Sound of Music, I mean, you would think, you know, how does she come over the mountain? And how do you make that seem real?
Oh, you know? It's wonderful. The show's wonderful. It was wonderful in New York. You know, when you see a movie, and especially a film like Sound of Music or Mary Poppins, where it's sort of become iconic, when a live production of it happens, the producers are required, the artistic people are required to both capture a little bit of what's iconic and acknowledge what they can't do. So you're not going to see a big, vast view of the Alps. It's not possible.
Well, maybe a backdrop.
Maybe, but it's just not the same thing.
Oh, okay.
At the same time, the intimacy of the moment when that happens is unbelievable. because it's real. It's not obviously microphone from far away
Yeah.
as the airplane flies around.
That's what I was interesting. That's interesting because I would think they always say when a book is made into a movie, and most movies, people who read the book says nothing. I had the full imagination of the book. That's what I'm even thinking while you're saying that. When you have a live performance, in a way, it's more real than a movie in a certain sense because you're dealing with real live people. You can feel you're connected to the audience a little bit more.
I have liked more than half of the things that have gone live to a live staging versus a film. I've preferred the live staging. They really are powerful. They're powerful. I mean, Fiddler's iconic, to go back to that. It's an iconic movie.
Right.
And Jerry Mostel was unbelievable.
Right.
But I cried 4 times during Fiddler in New York with Bernstein. As he's sending off his eldest daughter to go to Siberia and she's getting on the train, I bawled. I don't cry in the movie. I don't think I ever cried in the movie. But it was real. It was 2 humans expressing deep love for others, for themselves, and a deep sadness for the world that they had to face. Oh, God, I'm crying now.
Yeah.
I know, I see your eyes
Very
welling up,
different than the movie, to me.
It's an Oprah moment.
Yeah, right. Well, I cried at Hallmark cards too, but that's okay, don't worry about it.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh,
Again,
yeah,
one of
just
my
fun.
favorites.
Yeah,
and
really
you have
fun.
it around Halloween.
Yep.
A few days before Halloween. But again, you bring, as long as you bring the equipment that you need, the rice and the water and, things that you...
Yeah, so it'll be a complete...
Toilet paper to throw.
A complete mess.
Mess, that's right. I wouldn't want to be part of the... And you have, Kathy Griffin you have coming.
Yep,
Wow.
fabulous comedian.
Potty mouth.
Yeah, a little potty mouth, but really funny. People really enjoy her. I think she's pretty great.
And is that why you signed her up? Because you like her? Because
When a
gotta sign up your favorites.
facility like Proctors, last year we did 1,700 events.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a lot.
Not all of them ticketed. Some of them were free. Some of them were meetings, conferences, but still over 600 and something ticketed events. There are lots of tastes in the world.
yeah.
And you have to try to appeal, acknowledge, satisfy, respect all of them. And that's a big part of the programming.
But it's also your personal taste. You want to see things that you enjoy also.
A little bit, but not, but not that much.
Who gets to pick? Is it only you, or is it a committee? You sit down with them and say...
No, there's not a committee. There's a woman, Jean Leonard, who works with me around programming, and the two of us do almost all of it. We ask the opinion of staff frequently. We'll say, oh, okay, I want opinions on this. And those opinions come in, and based on that, we'll make a judgment. We'll do a risk analysis on the money and try to say, well, what happens if it's less than half a house, or what happens if it's 3/4 of a house? And then make a judgment whether to book it or not based on a sense of how does this fit into the whole picture? Are we covering a broad spectrum of America? Which is a broad spectrum, clearly.
Yeah, literally, yes, it is. And you have, well, first of all, I see Jack Hanna's Into the Wild live. So he's bringing animals?
Yeah, he's been here before. In fact,
He's bringing giraffes?
he's bringing all kinds of animals. I don't know about giraffes.
No,
but
you picture a giraffe, so
I may
unless
have
it's...
pictured it, but
better
he
be-
may not be with a giraffe. But last time he was here, he stayed at the Parker Inn, the small hotel in front of Proctors.
next door, yeah.
And his tiger stayed with him in the room,
Yeah.
but the cage wouldn't fit in the elevator.
Uh-huh.
So the cage was walked up, but Jack and the
Tiger.
went in the elevator together and went up in the
Well,
elevator.
I
The
didn't
maid
know-
over here, when the
I
maid
didn't know
comes
they
in
were
to
a
clean
pet-friendly hotel.
If there's stars, I guess.
Special exemption. Did he have to pay an extra fee for the
I'm
for
sure
the pet?
it's a double room.
$50 fee.
double bed. You can imagine the maid coming in, as I'm saying, and seeing
know.
a tiger in there.
Well,
you know.
It's funny in here.
You got to put a sign up and let her know. what to expect. So what goes on at the Saratoga facility, Universal
Right now,
Hall?
Universal Preservation Hall does community-based things, weddings, and half a dozen 8 jazz events. There'll be 3 of them this summer in the lower level.
Why did you decide to operate that, take it over? I don't know what the right word is.
They invited us. They said, would you please help us? Because we raised enough money, they said, to stabilize the building because it had nearly collapsed. But we don't know how to turn it into a performance facility.
Where is this exactly? Because I'm not even
It's at
familiar.
on the
with
Gideon Putnam grounds or
No,
SPAC
no,
grounds?
it's right downtown.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry,
on
okay.
Washington Street, the same street that Broadway is
The main drag.
main drag. It's right at the corner where Starbucks is. You take a left, and on the right-hand side, it's right there. It's right downtown.
I'm totally out of the loop on this then, okay.
And-
Maybe I'm thinking of HMT.
Yeah, it's right.
The
right
theater,
downtown.
the hometown theater or something. Yeah. Homemade theater or something.
Homemade theater.
Yeah.
The facility, the design we've come to is a center stage
Yeah.
with 700 seats all around. It'll be the only thing of its kind in the capital region. And our plan at this point, we have about $400,000 more to raise, maybe a little bit more, and is to go into renovation in the winter, January, February, and open it the following year.
So this is kind of new in terms of.
This will, when we reopen, it'll be totally new, and it will probably have 100 bookings a year, something like
Well,
that.
this is before your time, but in Latham, we had the Starlight Theater.
Oh, yes, I knew of it,
You knew it, right? And that was in the round.
right?
And the stage revolved also. But I saw some phenomenal acts during the 80s when that was at its peak. And there are a lot of performers who prefer being in the round.
Right.
And being able to walk and see everyone. It's more intimate also. And 700
Everybody's
seats,
closer, right.
700 seats in the round is like, I guess, 10 rows up. I mean, everyone has a good seat.
Everyone has a good seat, that's
You
right.
know, and
That's
if
why
you-
we thought it'd be really fun.
So it is.
My predecessor at Proctors used to run Starlight, Gloria Lemire. At one point, she was
Gloria,
working.
yeah, and Ed Louis Associates was the PR firm.
Oh, okay.
And what he used to do, and you may want to consider this, but he had a media event at the Desmond the day before or the day of the day of the event. So we all got to meet, the media got to meet the stars one-on-one and do our interviews with them and at the Desmond, and then go to the performance that evening. So it made the evening news, it made all the hype, and then people went to see it. So, you know,
He's
again,
a good PR agent over
you
here,
might want
Mark, over here.
to do something like that, because, I mean, I interviewed Gladys Knight. There were so many people, Bob Hope, and so many people who came there that I will cherish those interviews forever.
Oh, sure.
You know, and you may want to, just a thought, I'm pushing that. So anyhow, I'm glad you told me. This is wonderful. This is great. You'll be needing more staff for that, I guess?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Anyway, you have Little River Band that's coming up now.
Now, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, did that already happen?
June 17th.
Yeah, no, next
Right.
week, right.
Okay, so that, right, and that's being promoted now, I guess, on
Yep.
the radio. You have commercials running for that. How's that going? Because they're they 80s? They're an 80s band.
Yeah, and they're going very well. Tickets are going well.
Okay. Because I remember their songs. They were terrific. And then you got the original cast of Jersey Boys.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Midtown Men, it's really great. They do a great job. They for
Now
original
it's-
Broadway cast.
Right, it says that, and it says like 4 stars from the original cast.
Right.
Were there more and you can only get 4, or?
No, there's only 4.
The Golden Oldie Spectacular. Oh, that's one you would like.
Yeah, I'm 29 years old, but all
Yeah,
right.
you're a golden oldie. And then Van Morrison Experience. I mean, you look at Let It Be, the Beatles, I presume, I hope.
Yep.
Okay.
One of the fun things that we've repeated now every year is a man, regional guy, he does this great job deconstructing the Beatles. And he's
Yeah.
in there too. He does this fabulous job where he takes an album at a time and unwraps it musically, technically, historically, spends an hour and a half playing and describing context. And people love it. It sells out the GE Theater. It's really great.
Oh, is that what it's?
The guy does
yeah.
a great job.
So now cover your ears, Rabbi. You have this naked magic show going on?
Yeah, naked magic, man. You don't see it. It's naked.
So obviously they have nothing up their sleeves.
Ah, good one over here, Mark.
So what's going on with that? Like, how can you get that past all the ordinances?
No problem at all. It's all naked, Mark. It's not a big deal, really. And it's tied to a fun event. It's tied to our bourbon and barbecue event.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we'll have
You
to
gotta be a
check.
little drunk and then you can.
Oh, that's June. That's coming up.
Yeah, that's coming
okay.
up.
Well, we'll have to.
That's this Friday, June
10th. Yeah.
This Friday.
Okay. And June 29th is the magic show.
Yeah.
Okay. Have to get prepared for that. But you really have a great lineup here, and I really am glad we touched on most of
One of the
what
interesting
you
things
have
we
here.
did
I
this
mean,
year, very different than the past, is we've sort of crisscrossed a little bit the Capital Rep and the Proctors seasons. So we grew the Proctor season to 7 shows. The 7th show is a chit to any one of the 5 Capital Rep shows.
Okay.
So that Proctor subscribers, of which there are about 7,000,
Really?
go
That's
to a
a
Cap
lot.
Rep show. And then Cap Rep season is still 6, as it's always been. But the 6th show is at Proctor's. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to grow people's interests and
In both,
capacity and have people love both towns, not just one, and just sort of
Connect the
more
capital
vibrant
district
region.
together.
How
yeah.
easy is it now that you're at the point that you're at to get all these sponsors and
It's
get?
always hard work. It's always
But aren't
about.
they like knocking on your door saying, we really want to be a part of this? I mean, you are the jewel of the Capital District.
Sometimes they knock on our doors. Sometimes we have to knock on their door repeatedly. No one's forced. They all do it clearly voluntarily. And with
I'm telling
pride.
you, I would,
It's work still.
So, all right, let me ask you quickly about the gambling, that the casino that's coming in. How is that going to be a boon for you, or is that going to take people away? They're going to lose money at the casino, not have money for Proctors?
I think the casino is going to be a good thing. We didn't talk about this in the last show, but
Right.
when the legislation got brought forward, we went to the governor's office and asked if there could be language that would protect the downtown theaters
Yeah.
throughout all 3 regions, Catskill, Southern Tier, and Capital Region. And the governor opened language up so that the applicants for the casino license had to clearly prove that they were supporting the other entertainment venues. With that, we formed an organization called the Upstate Coalition for a Fair Game. And we negotiated with all 13 applicants, 16 applicants.
Yeah.
13 of whom signed agreements with us. And the
Okay.
agreements were really quite good, that they would not run competing facilities, that they would not use exclusivity against us.
Right.
What that means is if they got the Naked Magic show, they wouldn't make it exclusive 100-day, 100 miles so that I couldn't get it.
Okay.
And exclusivity is, some people would say that's not fair. Well, what's not fair about it is like a hamburger place opening next to another hamburger place and having the exclusive right to beef. That's
Yeah,
not
that
fair.
one,
Right.
I'm willing to compete head up, but not when they
Right.
have the exclusive all the time. And so all those things got in the agreements, and the 4 casinos that got chosen
Yeah.
all signed agreements with us.
Okay, I was going to say, the 3 that didn't probably were the ones that were chosen, but
no.
your mazel, your luck.
Yeah, right. No, all 4 of them were chosen. So that's really great. In addition, the casino in Schenectady is going to have a shuttle bus to our facility, and we're going to be allowed to redeem their loyalty points and loyalty card. And so there's a lot of good there. I just think it'll be.
But you don't see something where they would lose money at the casino and not have money for Proctors, or?
Well,
But you do a lot of advanced sales.
If you think of it as one person, that's possible. But the casino's going to attract people from all over the place, people who aren't our customers anyway. And we might be able to make them our customer.
I see.
So I think there's all
Putting in a
opportunity.
positive spin on it, I mean, just saying you can look at it a positive way or a negative way, and you're just
If
looking
it's
at
going to
positive.
happen, which it was going to happen,
Yeah, right.
it couldn't happen any better.
Okay, so let me ask you one.
One more minute.
Question about, when in 2013, you started in
12.
No, 2003 you started.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Yes.
Right, 2003 you started at Proctors. At 2013, you said that you had triple ticket sales. Now, 3 years later,
Doubled again.
you doubled it from the tripling.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so at this point, this past year, Proctors did about $16 million in ticket sales.
When is your contract up? You can really, this is the time you've shown your...
You do something for love, you do it for love.
How's
Right,
your-
right, Rabbi?
That's it. You should be a rabbi over here. That's the same word as I say it.
How's your talented son doing?
He's doing very, very well. He's playing a lot of music for the next month and a half. He's playing almost 6 nights a week, so it's great.
So he was very talented. I heard him play on the piano, and he's just a terrific kid. So.
Yeah, he's a good pianist. He's a good jazz pianist.
And you redid some of the Proctors Theater. You had the
We
gold.
finished all the
Right.
gold. The interior of the theater is finally, after 20 years of different pieces,
Yeah.
finished, and it looks great.
Wow. Yeah, I think it looks great because I was there when you cut the ribbon or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I thought that was phenomenal. So I just at least wanted to bring it up briefly here. So thank you.
Thank
Listen,
you.
Phil, you're just doing a great job, and every year we give you a bracha, blessing that you should double in sales, and you're really going to be, like Mark says, the jewel of Proctors, the jewels of the Capital District. So continued success and with good health.
Thank you,
Continued
Rabbi.
success.
Thank you, Mark.